What's up, YouTube? Let's get into it. There's two men the state wants you to fear right now. Two names painted across the media like they're monsters. Derrick Groves and Antoine Massey. But before you take their mug shots at face value, let me give you the story the system won't tell. Let me tell you what's behind the escape and what's been chasing them their whole lives. On May 16th, 2025, Derrick Groves and Antoine Massey walked out of Orleans Justice Center without permission. The headlines scream escape, but they didn't just escape a building. They were running from a cycle, a system that never gave them a real shot. Antoine Massey isn't some overnight criminal. He's a man who grew up navigating the trauma New Orleans hands out early. From poverty, violence, and the kind of policing that don't feel like protection. When you grow up black in the boot, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. You get judged off survival. Now the system's hunting him like a dog. They kicked down doors looking for him. They sat outside his people's homes with ARs like this was a cartel sting. They banging on his auntie's door, harassing his cousins, watching baby mamas. But let's keep it a buck. This ain't about public safety. This is about saving face. This is about a prison that got embarrassed, a sheriff office that got exposed. And then there's Derrick Groves. His escape made headlines, but his story started long before those bars. Back in 1994, his grandmother, Kim Groves, was executed in cold blood, and not by the streets. She was murdered by the New Orleans Police Department, set up by a badge-wearing killer named Lynn Davis. Kim did what the system tells us to do. She filed a complaint. She spoke up. She told the truth. And for that, she was targeted and gunned down in front of her home. All because of a cop on city payroll called a hit like a mob boss, and the FBI caught it on tape. But let's talk about it. But let me ask you this. How was Lynn Davis even still on the force? He had 20 complaints, 6 suspensions, and still the city handed him a badge, a gun, and the power to terrorize black neighborhoods. You want to talk about criminals? Start with who gave him authority in the first place. Let's be clear. The real threat to New Orleans ain't Antoine Massey or Derrick Groves. It's the system that made them. The DAs who hid evidence, the officers who lied under oath, the courts that ignored truth for convictions, and the badge-wearing murderers who never see a real cell until the feds step in. And now the families, Groves and Massey people, are being terrorized, raided, watched, threatened, but not protected because the system don't protect black families. It silenced them. They can write the headlines all they want to, however they want. But don't forget, Derrick Groves is the grandson of a woman murdered by the state. Antoine Massey is a man running from more than just charges. He's running from a future that was never promised to him. The city wants us to fear them, but it's time we fear what built them. So no, we're not glorifying fugitives. We're exposing foundations. This is what happens when a system is designed to fail black men and to punish them when they break free. Y'all still call it justice, but we know better. Now let me rewind it back because I want to talk about Lynn Davis' crooked ass. They say that justice was served. They say that Davis got the death penalty in 1996. But fast forward to 2024 and the government commuted his sentence. He's alive and well in federal prison. He's living, eating, breathing. Meanwhile, Kim Groves is in the ground. Her family waited 24 years for the city to pay them a dime. $1.5 million split between 3 kids, decades too late. Derrick Groves grew up in that shadow, raised by trauma, shaded by loss, and now he's labeled dangerous for refusing to stay caged up by the very same system that buried his grandma. And Lynn Davis, he didn't stop there. He helped frame 3 teenagers for a murder they didn't commit. 3 boys were 17 and 18 years old, and they sat in Angola for nearly 30 years based on Davis' lies and a rigged prosecution. 3 decades stolen from these men. It took until 2022 for the city to admit the truth and to set them free. Now they home, but broke. Still waiting on a settlement. still living under the weight of a false conviction. No therapy, no restitution, just lawsuits and long memories. Lynn Davis, you are the real thug. You understand me? You are the nigga from the streets that they should have been watching. While you sitting around policing everybody else, you should have been policed. You the one that kept the drugs on the street. You the one that kept the system pumping with false prosecutions. Your ass deserved to die in that prison. And I hope Groves and I hope that Massey never get caught.